Okay, so far we have our connections ready to interact with the user. So now what we want to do is display the actual speed of the metronome right now. So how do we do that? We're going to need to have a variable in the code that stores the current value at all times. Okay, so whenever time goes by, we need some kind of a variable or a property that stores what's the current value. So let's go in the interface controller.h file, and right here, right below the WK interface controller, press enter, open a curly brace and close it. Okay, once you do that, create a type that will store that value, and here it's called a float. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much into details. These are different classes, and this one is not about types, but know that it's a float that stores decimal values. Okay, and we're going to call this one bit per minute value. Okay, and put a semicolon at the end, and then we're gonna need the state of the image when it's showing the yellow image or the blue image. In order to do that, we need something that goes between yes or no. So we're gonna ask if it's showing the blue image or not. So how do we do that? We would do bool, that's a boolean, that's yes or no value, is, or let's just put displaying first image. Okay, and the first image would be the blue image. Okay, all right, so now that we have this, let's go in the interface controller.m file. Once we do that, what we want to do here is create a new action to play the beat, or basically every time there's one beat that needs to play, we're gonna trigger an action. So let's go right before the @end and create this action, and I'm gonna call it play beat. So just do dash void. Don't worry about this is just the syntax, and let's write play beat. Okay, by the way, it's case sensitive, so make sure you use upper and lower case. Now try to have it the same way as I do. It doesn't have to be perfectly the same way as I do, as long as you keep your work constant. Like if you put everything lowercase, everything needs to be lowercase. Okay, but to be honest, just use the same way I'm doing it. It's going to be a lot easier for you in the future. All right, so I'm calling it play beat, and open a curly brace and close one. Let me put it up a little bit so you guys can see it better. All right, and what does play beat do? It's basically checking if the current image is the first image. So if we're displaying the first image, then we're gonna do something else. We're gonna do something else. Okay, so think about it. If it's displaying the first image, we want to display the next image, which will be the second image. Okay, so instead of the blue one, we want to display the yellow one. And if it's displaying the yellow image, then we want to display the blue image, right? So how do we do that? We just basically change the image just the way we put it right here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this line and paste it right there. Okay, so the image beat becomes the second one, else it becomes the other one, beat 1. Okay, it's that easy. Now what you got to do is basically obviously say that displaying first image is equal to no. It's not displaying the first image anymore. And here, new line, displaying first image is yes. All right. Okay, so now we have this for the image. Every time there's going to be a bit. But now what we got to do is change the text, okay, the text of the label. So how do we do that? We go bits per minute label. Actually, I think we called it label, right? Yeah, label per minute dot text. So we're gonna change the text is equal to, and now we're gonna change that to ns string with format. And bear with me here because it's very new, and the syntax is very picky. So 0.0f, and we're gonna put bpm, okay, and here we're gonna display bit per minute value. Okay, so technically what we're doing here is that we're displaying the I'm sorry, it's actually a percent here. Okay, so we're displaying the value of the bit per minute value to the label. Okay, that's basically what we're doing here. All right, so now we need to do something, is that we need to call the play beat. When do we call this action? We're gonna call this action whenever the app starts, right? You want to start the beat when the app starts, right? So just go right here under will activate, press enter, and just do self with the brackets play beat, okay, and put a semicolon at the end. So we're calling the action. So as soon as the app starts, it's going to call the code that's within the play beat action here, okay. Now we're almost finished, but the last thing we want to do is actually call this action every X amount of time, okay. So we want to repeat that, so that the beat so we have a feeling that it's kind of beating just like a heartbeat. So how do we do that? Just bear with me. We need to do a timer, okay. So a timer is basically going to call the function or this action every X amount of time, okay. So we're going to write dispatch async. Now I'm not going to tell you much of what that dispatch async does. It's a bit tricky, but just know that it's a way to update update the user interface, on the main thread. Now some of you understand what that means, some of you may not understand. Just know that we got to do this to update the screen right now, okay. So dispatch get main queue, okay, and now we're gonna write which action we want, okay. So the action is gonna be, okay, so let's write the action here. Let me put it up a little bit so it's easier for you guys to see. All right, and let's write the action. So we want a timer, nstimer, and the timer we're gonna schedule it every X amount of time. So right now we're going to do 60 because there's 60 seconds, and divided by the bit, which would be bits per minute value. This is just math here, okay. So just know that the number of bits is bits per minute, and in a minute there's 60 seconds, so it's going to be 60 divided by bit per minute value. And actually that won't be the invocation one, that would be a different one. So let me remove that. We're going to go with the target, okay. Target itself, that means that this is going to call an action that's within this file, and the action is called a selector, @selector, and the name of the action would be the same one, which is playBit. So we're going to call this action again every bit we're going to call the playBit one, okay. All right, user info, put nil here, and repeats. No, we're not going to repeat that because it's already repeating by calling itself. All right. So I know it's a bit tricky, and it's actually the hardest piece of code you're going to work with for this app. But this is what we need in order to have the beat play. Okay? So once you have this, you can just click on play, and you should have a build succeeded. If you don't, that means that something went wrong. Okay? So now let's take a look in the simulator. Okay? And it's not working right now. It's not changing this image. I believe the reason why is that we have not connected the image yet. So let's double check what's going on with that. Okay. So how do you do that? You go to the interface.storyboard right here, and as you can see, we do have the image bit. Okay. So let's see what's going on. Okay, so now I'm going to do some debugging, and that's a good exercise for you guys. I'm going to click here and see what's going on with that by clicking play. Okay, and let's see what's going to happen. As you can see, it's calling the method. Now I'm going to go inside, and it's calling the first one, displaying first image. Okay, and it's changing the bit, and it's calling play bit again. Okay, I know what's going on. So what's missing here is that the bit per minute value has never been set at the beginning. So this value is 0. So this is not going to get called again. So let's set it up at the very beginning. So right before playing the beat, right here, press enter and type bit per minute value is equal to 132 and put a semicolon. All right. So if you have that now, let's click on play and see what's going to happen. We should be good to go now. Let's see. All right, and as you can see, it's like beeping with the speed. Now, in the next lecture, what we want to do is interact with these buttons. So as we click on minus and plus, we want to increase the speed at which this moves. Okay, we want to make it faster or slower. Excellent job. See you guys in the next lecture. And by the way, all the files we're working on are available to download at appsfresh.com in the courses section for free, or you can probably find it on Udemy as well. See you guys in the next lecture.